get elected, the state's huge long-term obligations, bonded debt, unfunded pension liabilities, and unfunded post-retirement benefits estimated by Office of Policy and Management in November 2009 to exceed $61 billion. That's 20 times the size of the budget deficit looming in 2012. So not only do we have this stuff on the table in front of us, we're also looking at a $61 billion deficit in unfunded liabilities. So those are things that we have to keep on the table as well if you are not sleeping well enough at nights. Larry.
There have been obviously a number of good ideas and suggestions which have been advanced here today. But as I listen to them, I think about two episodes in the past that I'm familiar with, which are comparable but not quite as critical as the one we face. The one was in 1971 when we faced a huge deficit, a new governor, and he worked with members of the legislature to engineer an income tax as the only solution to the problem. The problem is that Connecticut was not ready for that, and 6 weeks later it was repealed. In lieu of that, we raised every other existing tax as high as we could possibly raise them, and instituted a new tax on interest, dividends, and capital gains, a backdoor income tax, if you will. In 1991, I was then president of the Connecticut Public Expenditure Council when Lowell Weicker was becoming governor, and there was a huge deficit, again, not quite as large as the one we now face. And that governor and the legislature did, in fact, have to adopt an income tax as the only answer. The problem that we face today is unprecedented. We can dance around it and we can talk about streamlining government and eliminating the programs that are inefficient, perhaps duplicative. We can talk about other ways of attacking the problem. I have one sure way of attacking the problem. When I was a state senator, I authored a piece of legislation called sunset legislation. It simply means that every 5 years, on a rotating basis, all the agencies, departments and agencies and programs of the state government are up for review. And those that can justify their existence remain, and those that cannot, theoretically, are cut back or eliminated. Here's what I suggest for 2011, for the budget that will start in 2011 and end in 2012. Incidentally, interesting 20-year cycle here, 71, 91, and into 2011, history repeating itself 3 times in the last 40 years. I would put forth a budget. Now, this is going to sound draconian, but it has a purpose. I would put forth a budget that is balanced. Well, with a $3.8 billion hole, that means not just deep cuts, that means cuts that go beyond what anybody would ever want to do. But let the sunset process begin at that point. Let the governor start by putting such a budget on the table, and then let the General Assembly, in their shock and dismay, have to deal with this. I think, the legislature, the General Assembly, which I was once a part of, has been kicking this can down the road for years. And it's got to end, and it will end. It must end in 2011. And you can talk about taxes all you want, but remember, There's no room there. We have the second highest per capita taxes in the nation. Second highest. In terms of bonded indebtedness, we have the third highest bonded indebtedness in the nation. In fact, our bonded indebtedness is higher on a per capita basis than the state of California, which is considered to be the basket case of all basket cases as they move toward bankruptcy. So there's not enough. We can jigger with the tax system, maybe get some marginal increases here and there, but there's not much room on the tax side. We do have a spending problem. Spending is totally out of control, and we can't increase business taxes. In fact, we should be looking to, in the longer term, to decrease business taxes, because we have another ignominious distinction in this state. We are the most business-unfriendly state in the nation. So I'm just completing the portrait that you are painting here. And the completion of that portrait is the facts about tax per capita, bonded indebtedness per capita, and business unfriendliness. That completes the picture you're trying to draw.
I'm going to go to Mark first, and then Rudy, and then we'll try to tighten up our answers and go around and start really rolling up our sleeves and figuring out what we're going to do. But we know that a lot of the cuts we can make in our revenue, a lot of the stuff is non-functional, meaning that we have to pay. So of the stuff we can cut, we look at corrections, 1.7 billion, health and hospitals, 1.9 billion, human services, 5.9 billion, and education, 4.6 billion. So the